The following video is intended for mature audiences. It contains horror elements, adult themes, and language that might not be suitable for younger viewers. Rob Zombie's versions of Halloween and Halloween 2 are fearless explorations of horror. With his raw, unfiltered style, Zombie transforms John Carpenter's famous slasher films into a more basic narrative. His approach to the genre is as much psychological horror as it is gory brutality typical of slashers. While he respects Carpenter's original work, Zombie adds an unrestrained intensity that distinguishes his movies in a saturated genre. Like his music, these films resonate with the same wild energy, combining chaotic visuals with a hauntingly distorted soundtrack. From the start of Zombie's Halloween, viewers know they're in for a different kind of horror. The ominous undertones from Carpenter's original remain, but have been enhanced with layers of stark realism. This starts with the deeply unsettling portrayal of Michael Myers' childhood. Zombie explores Michael's mind, giving viewers an intimate view of how a monster evolves. This approach sets it apart from earlier films. While the original portrayed an enigmatic evil force, Zombie's Michael comes from an abusive and neglected environment. Despite this change in perspective, Zombie doesn't lessen the fear linked to the character. He amplifies it by revealing the sinister depths hiding within human consciousness and creating a villain who feels frighteningly real. Zombie's artistic vision fully blossoms in Halloween 2, providing viewers a disturbingly nightmarish experience. It discards any attempt to fit into traditional slasher film standards and plunges directly into a surreal world marked by psychological trauma and decay. It becomes more of a psychological thriller dressed in horror aesthetics than anything else. Laurie Strode's journey involves increasing paranoia and mental breakdowns, blurring dreams from reality and sanity from insanity. Zombie connects Laurie and Michael's stories in ways that are emotionally powerful and deeply unsettling, exploring the recurring nature of trauma and violence. Zombie's unique vision distinguishes these films within the horror genre. While some may criticize the explicit violence and relentless darkness, these elements are essential to his method. Zombie doesn't avoid showing brutality, thus creating an environment filled with constant fear. His version of Halloween isn't just about a masked killer. It explores the terrifying unpredictability of human nature itself. He removes Michael Myers' mask to unveil a disturbed, tragic figure while also studying the widespread effects of evil. Laurie also transforms into a more complex and damaged character, becoming more than just a final girl. She emerges as a survivor bearing permanent psychological scars. In Zombie's hands, the Halloween films create their own space within the franchise. They honor the core of the original while challenging convention to redefine what a slasher film can be. They incite fear, not only through graphic violence but also by making viewers face potential darkness within even seemingly ordinary people. For fans of Rob Zombie's music, these films act as an extension of his signature chaotic, apocalyptic energy. A whirlwind of madness that is equally thrilling and terrifying. Now let's take a closer look at these two exceptional works of film and uncover what makes them both frightening and incredibly well done. Halloween is a cornerstone of horror cinema, and Rob Zombie's 2007 remake offers a unique, raw take on the series. Known for his unapologetic style in films like House of 1000 Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, Zombie faced the daunting task of reimagining John Carpenter's Halloween, widely regarded as the birthplace of the modern slasher genre. As an experienced musician and filmmaker, Zombie has a knack for creating unsettling environments. His version of Halloween delves into the mind of Michael Myers, one of horror's most elusive villains. More than just another slasher film, it's a comprehensive character study. Zombie paints a stark picture of young Michael's upbringing, offering viewers insights into what could have driven him to become the silent killer known as Michael Myers. Some may argue that part of the original's appeal was its ambiguity, Michael Myers as pure evil without clear motives. But Zombie's version provides a chilling look into Michael's tragic past. This new angle makes this version of Halloween not only terrifying, but also an insightful exploration of how monsters are made. The major difference from Carpenter's 1978 version is Zombie's choice to humanize Michael Myers by giving him an extensive backstory. In Carpenter's original, Michael is shown as an unfathomable evil force who commits murders without reason or remorse from childhood. Zombie takes time to explore Michael's early life, uncovering a broken home that might explain his transformation. The opening act throws viewers into young Michael's turbulent family life. His mother, Deborah, is a caring but strained stripper trying to hold her family together. Ronnie, his stepfather, is repugnant. His constant threats toward Michael and the family add to the oppressive atmosphere at home. From the start, audiences sense impending doom. Something about young Michael is unsettling, yet it's difficult not to feel for this child in such a harmful environment. Deg Faert's portrayal of young Michael Myers is both captivating and terrifying. He embodies an unnerving detachment for his age, but there's also deep sadness in his eyes, a reflection of the emotional turmoil he experiences. There are moments when Michael seems almost likable, innocent even, and it's during these times that Zombie expertly plays with viewers' emotions. Despite knowing what lies ahead for him, you can't help but root for him. This sense of impending tragedy permeates every scene, making Michael's eventual psychological collapse all the more horrifying. Zombie's depiction of Michael's descent into violence feels believable. As neglect and abuse pile up, it becomes increasingly likely that a child like Michael will break down. This deeper psychological exploration adds layers to the character of Michael Myers, delving into his psyche and exposing new dimensions. While it may sacrifice some of the mystery surrounding him from the original, it offers a chillingly human perspective on the nature of evil. The film's portrayal of Michael's family significantly enhances its eerie atmosphere. The Myers household personifies dysfunction, a chaotic place where love is overshadowed by cruelty and neglect. Ronnie, the abusive stepfather, is detestable. Forsythe's performance is unnervingly accurate. His constant belittlement of Deborah and Michael intensifies the grimness of the opening act. Sherry Moon Zombie as Deborah Myers is arguably the most tragic character in this story. She loves her son deeply, but fails to change his fate. Deborah's despair after Michael's first murders is heartbreaking, and Sherry Moon Zombie's performance draws out both frustration at her inability to stop the abuse and sympathy for her son. The dynamic between Michael and his family deepens his transformation into a killer, making it easier to understand how someone from such a background could embody pure evil. Especially noteworthy are the interactions between Michael and his sister Judith, which highlight his growing darkness. There's a disturbing detachment in the way Michael interacts with his family, particularly his stepfather and sister, as if he's already emotionally distancing himself. However, Zombie leaves room for interpretation. Was Michael molded by his surroundings, or was the darkness inside him all along, only needing the right conditions to emerge? Rob Zombie's unique filmmaking style is defined by his ability to create disturbing and grim settings that seem deeply corrupted. His 2007 version of Halloween is a perfect example. The Myers family home and Smith's Grove Sanitarium are filled with filth, reflecting the mental breakdown of the characters. This film has a visual darkness that's even more intense than the 1978 original, which blends perfectly with the story's tone. Zombie's take on Haddonfield contrasts with the peaceful suburbs shown in Carpenter's film, instead depicting a town full of hidden rot. The violence in Zombie's Halloween is also much more explicit and graphic. It's brutal and unyielding. The murders are savage, blood sprays freely, and the camera stays just long enough to unsettle viewers. This heightened brutality matches the film's tone. It's raw, repugnant, and relentless, mirroring Michael's origins. Michael Myers' portrayal under Carpenter and Zombie varies greatly. In the original, Michael gives off an almost supernatural vibe, a silent specter moving through reality with eerie detachment. But in contrast, Zombie presents Michael as both more human and animalistic. He is shown as a hulking figure whose physical presence incites fear. Tyler Mane does an excellent job portraying Michael, who towers over his victims, making each hit feel impactful. There's something truly scary about Michael's massive size in this film, particularly noticeable when he transitions from a child to an adult. This transformation left me both amazed and terrified. No Halloween movie would be complete without Laurie Strode, the iconic final girl character. In Zombie's version, Laurie is played by Scout Taylor Compton. As a little horror misfit, she was easier for me to relate to than her 1978 counterpart. Breaking away from Jamie Lee Curtis's pristine girl-next-door image, Taylor Compton's Laurie is less refined but still likable and easy to support. Zombie's take on Laurie is interesting as she retains her original character traits, resourcefulness, intelligence, and strength, but also feels more modern and fleshed out. Her relationships with friends and family are more defined in this version. Her link to Michael seems more complex. While the original Halloween left Michael's obsession with Laurie unexplained, Zombie's version adds depth to their relationship, enhancing their eventual face-off. When Laurie finally confronts Michael, it results in a violent clash that feels well-earned. Taylor Compton injects a lot of emotion into her role. Her fear is palpable during the film's climax. Despite diverging significantly from Jamie Lee Curtis's portrayal of Laurie, Taylor Compton delivers a strong performance that stands up to the original. The distinguishing factor of Zombie's Halloween is its ability to pay homage to Carpenter's original film while also innovating. There are numerous nods to the 1978 classic, such as the memorable opening credits with John Carpenter's score, and key scenes like Michael's escape from Smith's Grove Sanitarium and his pursuit of Laurie. Yet Zombie doesn't shy away from taking risks and charting new narrative paths. Zombie deepens the character of Michael by providing him with a backstory, something absent in the original film. His distinctive style brings a grittier version of Halloween to life that remains true to the core elements that made the original so impactful. Zombie's intense direction takes this film beyond a simple remake. He imbues every scene with dread and unease. There's no respite in the pacing. From young Michael's first kill, it relentlessly pulls viewers into a horrifying world of violence. Rob Zombie's Halloween has ignited discussion due to its bold decision to explore Michael Myers' psyche by giving him an elaborate backstory. The original Halloween left much about Michael obscured, making him an enigmatic figure of pure malice. This mystery was part of what made him so terrifying for many fans. By portraying Michael as a product of an abusive upbringing, some argue that Zombie strips away his ominous mystique. However, this narrative choice adds psychological depth to Myers' character. Watching Michael transform from a troubled child into a horrific killer is both distressing and terrifying. While this interpretation may lack the simplicity of the original portrayal, it offers its own brand of horror. The unsettling understanding that evil can be cultivated through suffering and neglect. Some argue that this view makes Myers even more frightening as he shifts from being an anonymous threat into a tragic result of societal failure. A neglected child failed by those who should have protected him. In essence, Zombie's Halloween comments on societal issues like violence and abuse, and how real-world monsters come into existence. It goes beyond the story of a masked killer to question what factors lead to such a creation. Rob Zombie's 2007 version of Halloween is a bold reinterpretation of a cherished horror classic. It might not appeal to all fans, but it provides an interesting take on Michael Myers' tale. By exploring Michael's past, Zombie creates a more complex and tragic character, while keeping the intense fear and brutal violence expected in the genre. As a fan of both Rob Zombie's music and filmmaking, I found this version of Halloween to be an excellent continuation of the franchise. The exploration of Michael's origins, coupled with Zombie's unique directorial style, results in a disturbing and emotionally resonant experience. While it isn't perfect, some may find the violence too explicit or the backstory unnecessary. It's hard to ignore the power of Zombie's creative vision. For me, delving into young Michael's life was both fascinating and chilling. I'm excited to see how this narrative will develop in future installments. Rob Zombie's Halloween stands strong as an impressive horror film and a worthy addition to the Halloween series. It delves into humanity's darkness and explores how violence, suffering, and neglect can twist a child into a monster, an unsettling journey that any horror fan should embark on. Now let's move on to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's signature touch on the horror genre is evident. His unique style, rough visuals, and unwavering dedication to violent scenes are prominent in his remake of Halloween 2. This film offers a gripping reinterpretation of the Michael Myers narrative that immerses viewers into a psychological nightmare filled with traumatic experiences and a daunting examination of the human psyche. Zombie's unapologetically chaotic filmmaking style appeals to fans who find this sequel a refreshing change from the usual Halloween franchise. It fearlessly strays from traditional conventions to carve its unique path through darkness, presenting audiences with a horrifying depiction of madness and family breakdown. This version of the classic slasher movie isn't for those who prefer straightforward suspense or have weak stomachs. Instead, it resembles an intense wave of violence and mental breakdown that delves deep into its characters' broken minds, particularly those of Michael Myers and his sister Laurie Strode. The film suggests that insanity isn't inherent, but cultivated in the dark corners created by trauma, grief, and loss. One notable feature of Halloween 2 is its redefinition of Michael Myers' character. In Zombie's depiction, Michael surpasses being just an anonymous symbol of evil. He becomes a broken figure, troubled by his past and his deceased mother's looming presence. The recurring theme of the White Horse and Michael's mother's ghostly appearance, portrayed by Sherry Moon Zombie, gives this film an almost mythical feel. The White Horse represents Michael's internal turmoil, embodying death, violence, and his mother's constant influence. It appears as if Michael has embraced a mother persona himself, with his mother's spirit guiding him toward his violent destiny. This portrayal of Michael significantly differs from the emotionless, silent killer from earlier films. Under Zombie's guidance, Michael transforms into a tragic figure consumed by his trauma and driven by a distorted sense of family duty. This raw representation echoes Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where the mother-child relationship turns into a disturbing source of insanity. The repeated visions of his mother in white leading a white horse give the film an eerie, dreamlike feel that distinguishes it from conventional slasher movies. These instances suggest Michael's actions are more than just mindless killing sprees. They are the culmination of a deeply damaged psyche detached from reality. This psychological depth differentiates Zombie's Halloween 2 in the horror genre. Instead of focusing on the external terror represented by a masked killer, Zombie explores the internal realm, investigating his character's scarred minds. Michael is no longer just an ominous shadow, he becomes human, though one irreversibly distorted by his experiences. While Michael Myers controls the narrative, Laurie Strode, played again by Scout Taylor Compton, provides its emotional core. Halloween 2 picks up from where its predecessor ended, with Laurie dealing with her near-death experience at Michael's hands. Unlike the typical final girl, who emerges unscathed and victorious, Zombie's Laurie is broken, traumatized, and spiraling into insanity. The film showcases Laurie's decline into mental instability without glossing over it. She is tormented by nightmares, prone to violent outbursts, and isolated from her environment. The trauma she endured in the first film has left lasting scars, and Halloween 2 doesn't shy away from displaying its long-term effects. Despite being a survivor, Laurie is far from whole. The film's portrayal of post-traumatic stress disorder is among its most disconcerting elements, as we witness Laurie's fight to maintain her sanity. What makes Laurie's journey compelling in this film is its similarity to Michael's path. Both siblings are troubled by their mother's ghost, both battle their inner demons, and both are on the edge of madness. Halloween 2 blurs the distinction between Laurie and Michael, suggesting that their shared trauma is pulling them toward a shared fate. This unsettling concept adds layers of psychological complexity to an already dread-filled film. Zombie's choice to concentrate on the psychological aftermath of Michael's rampage sets this film apart from its predecessors. In most slasher films, the final girl moves on seemingly unscathed by the horrors she has survived. However, in Halloween 2, Laurie's trauma takes center stage, making it clear that there is no escaping from Michael Myers' shadow. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 captivates its viewers with striking visuals. Key among these are the repeated appearances of a white horse and the ghostly image of Michael's mother, creating a surreal, dreamlike ambiance reminiscent of David Lynch's style. This distinct imagery sets the film apart from typical slasher movies. The white horse introduced early in the movie is linked to dreams and visions, signifying violent impulses and acting as a symbol of deep-seated trauma. Deborah Meyer's apparition, played by Rob's lovely wife Sherry, recurs throughout the film as well. Dressed in ethereal white and often accompanied by the white horse, she represents mortality and a distorted form of maternal love. Her presence lends an almost ritualistic quality to Michael's killings. It's as if he's fulfilling his mother's desires rather than following his instincts. Zombie hints at an intriguing idea that Michael has internalized a mother persona. It suggests that his violent deeds are not just random or mindless, but driven by an intense psychological need to live up to his deceased mother's expectations. This adds depth to Michael's character. He isn't simply a killer, he's also a son trying to meet an abnormal version of maternal love. Laurie's journey reflects this mother persona when she begins having visions similar to Michael's as the plot progresses, indicating her entrapment in this spiral of violence and madness. The exploration of mother-child relationships as triggers for psychological trauma is one of Halloween 2's most unique and disconcerting features. It adds emotional depth to the violence, making it less about spectacle and more about expressing deep-rooted family wounds. Halloween 2 is not for those with weak stomachs. The movie's violence is relentless and brutal, sometimes nearly unbearable. But unlike many slasher films where gore seems gratuitous, here it serves a function. It reflects the characters' inner struggles and physically embodies the psychological damage they have endured. The murders in this movie are not just acts of violence, they are expressions of Michael's rage and his shattered psyche. Each killing is savage, chaotic, and deeply personal, mirroring Michael's emotional pain. Zombie ensures that the violence never feels exploitative. Instead, it appears as a necessary part of the story, a way to externalize the character's inner conflicts. Such brutality won't be surprising for those familiar with Rob Zombie's work. As a director who isn't afraid to push limits, Zombie fully embraces humanity's dark side. The movie's violence isn't just physical, it's emotional and psychological, leaving its characters and viewers feeling shaken by the end. What sets Halloween 2 apart from the other franchise installments is Zombie's distinctive directorial style and visual approach. The movie plunges its viewers into a gritty aesthetic that conveys rawness and authenticity, elements often lacking in more stylized horror films. Its lighting is harsh, its camera work is dynamic, its overall mood is one of overwhelming dread. Zombie heightens this nightmarish quality through dream sequences and surreal imagery. Regular appearances by the White Horse and Michael's mother lend an otherworldly feel, as if its characters are caught on the edge between reality and nightmare. The sound design perfectly matches these unsettling visuals. The soundtrack features chilling, dissonant tones that create an atmosphere of unease. This sense of impending doom persists even during moments of relative calm. The film's use of silence is particularly effective, providing a brief respite before thrusting viewers back into chaos. Halloween 2's silent moments are some of its most unnerving, highlighting Zombie's skillful use of this technique. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 concludes with a puzzling and unsettling ending that mirrors the film's overall tone. It leaves viewers with many unanswered questions. The ambiguous ending aptly reflects the character's disordered and fragmented psyche, especially Laurie Strode's. Zombie intentionally avoids a clear resolution, challenging typical horror genre patterns. In most slasher movies, the story ends with the surviving protagonist overcoming their tormentor. However, Halloween 2 lacks this catharsis. There are no victors in this story. The deep psychological wounds inflicted on the characters prevent any simple resolution. What makes Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 stand out from other entries in the long-standing Halloween series is its fearless approach to its subject matter. Zombie twists the well-known story of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, creating a narrative that explores both psychological trauma and a masked murderer's relentless chase of his victims. Instead of relying on cheap scares or standard slasher tropes, it delves into its characters' psychological turmoil, exploring themes like family dynamics, madness, and inherited violence. Zombies Reimagining is both harsh and refreshing. It presents audiences with a darker, more introspective version of the Halloween mythos. Fans familiar with the original film's polished terror might find this sequel jarring, as it is rawer and psychologically more complex than any previous installment. One unique feature of this film is its recurring motif of a white horse and Michael's ghostly mother figure. These dreamlike sequences blur reality with nightmares, adding surrealism to the story. The white horse symbolizes violence, death, and haunting past that continue to torment the characters. The use of these symbols emphasizes how violence cycles through generations and how trauma is passed down. For Michael, his mother represents a twisted form of love that motivates his killing spree. For Laurie, the white horse implies she might be falling into her brother's cycle of violence and insanity. For fans of Rob Zombie's music and previous films, Halloween 2 continues his distinctive style. The film presents a chaotic symphony with its fast pace, brutal violence, and constant tension, creating an atmosphere heavy with impending doom. Using handheld cameras and disorienting angles, Zombie heightens this eerie environment, making viewers feel trapped within the same horrifying reality as the characters. One of the most engaging elements in Halloween 2 is its portrayal of Laurie Strode, who serves as the emotional center of the film. Unlike typical horror heroines who overcome adversity without lasting harm, Laurie personifies survival in its rawest sense. She isn't unscathed, she's broken, vulnerable to danger, on the brink of madness. Scout Taylor Compton's performance as Laurie is raw and unshielded, conveying a wide range of emotions associated with surviving such horrific events. Her descent into insanity mirrors Michael's journey, adding a sense of tragic inevitability. The relationship between Laurie and Michael is further explored in Halloween 2, drawing parallels between their shared traumas and fates. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, despite its mixed reviews, remains a strong and unapologetic contribution to the horror genre. The film challenges conventions, surprising viewers with each turn and pushing the boundaries of what a slasher movie can be. For those who appreciate Zombie's gritty and visceral style, Halloween 2 provides an exciting reimagining of the Halloween series that delves further into psychological complexity than its predecessors. For Rob Zombie enthusiasts, this film affirms his distinct vision and ability to reinvent a popular franchise in his unique way. The brutality, dreamlike imagery, and psychological depth of Halloween 2 set it apart within the slasher genre by offering something more emotionally and intellectually demanding than typical horror movies. However, it's important to note that this film may not be for everyone. Its continuous violence, abstract dream sequences, and confusing narrative structure might put off some viewers, especially those who prefer the simple scares provided by the original Halloween films. But for those willing to accept Zombie's vision, Halloween 2 stands out as a bold exploration of trauma, madness, and the relentless impact of one's history. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 challenges its audience to confront humanity's darkest aspects directly. It offers a severe scrutiny of trauma, violence, and our profound connections to our pasts. Zombie's direction is raw but steadfast, resulting in a film that is as disturbing as it is thought-provoking. The psychological depth, shown through characters like Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, adds layers of complexity that lift the film above standard slasher fare. For horror fans who value an intense exploration into character psychology, Halloween 2 is a must-watch. While it may not appeal to everyone universally, for fans of Rob Zombie or those looking for an innovative take on the Halloween storyline, this film delivers. Its eerie imagery, savage violence, and psychological depth make it an exceptional entry in the franchise. Zombie's choice to take the Halloween series in a new and controversial direction has resulted in something truly distinctive, a film that defies genre limitations to forge its own path through the terrifying landscape of the human mind. For this reason alone, Halloween 2 deserves its place as one of the most intriguing and unsettling entries in the Halloween series. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a slasher teen horror that is 1 hour and 49 minutes long and is rated R. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a slasher horror that is 1 hour and 45 minutes and is rated R. One of my favorite horror film franchises, and Rob Zombie. You can't get much better than that. While I love the originals, these reinterpretations blew me away. The Southern Underworld gives both movies 5 bloody knives. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.